going on, people? So before we go getting all into this and all that, so this past Saturday did the first sneaker battle thing, and that worked out pretty well. We started, I say we because me and my cakes and a handful of other people were there on the end of the live that I did last Sunday about YouTube stuff. So we were talking about, doing a couple sneaker battles and stuff, and so at that point, it was just like an idea. We didn't really start talking about it until maybe like Monday or Tuesday. Then just kind of got it all together and everything worked out in the end. So there was a decent amount of people that showed up. The battle itself went back and forth, so that was pretty exciting. All in all, we just wanted to have everybody get out there, have a good time. And as far as doing this again, wanted to kind of see how people felt about it, gauge the interest levels and all that. And it seems like people were into it, so we will be doing that again. I'll talk more about that later, but that'll be happening. So stay tuned for more information if you want more information, or you can ask and then I'll let you know. Past that, got a little box in on Saturday, which is when I had originally planned to do this, but the box came in a lot later than I expected. Normally FedEx will kind of show up in like the middle part of the day, but this time around they were right as I was starting the thinker battle. Yeah, that's what it was. So after that, I didn't really feel like doing it. But here we are today, knocking this thing out. Also, it's Monday, which is a music shirt day for me or whatever. So got this here Real Big Fish shirt from the time that I saw them back in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is, if you're from New Mexico, just take this for what it is. I feel like New Mexico might be the worst state of all the states. It's just terrible. But that's just my perspective, right? I was only there for like 4 years, but still, I did not enjoy any of it. I did enjoy the show. I mean, Real Big Fish was cool. That's always a good time. Then they had People Mover that opened up for them. It was just one of the weirdest looking things I'd ever seen. It's like these two dudes in gorilla suits or something, and then everybody else was kind of dressed up. And I was like, what is this? And then there was a point where that dude came out into the crowd, because sometimes people do that. And I was just like, man, it didn't sound good either. It was just like, it was weird all around. But maybe it's working out for them. It just wasn't working out for me. And hopefully these do work out for me though. So let's go talk about this. So some time ago, I think it was earlier last week, maybe the week before that, Adidas did one of their, hey, put in on these and see if you win a free pair of shoes, right? I think they just do that to kind of get people in the know of something that's coming up. So I put in for the free pair, didn't get the free pair, so I had to pay money for a pair. Luckily they're cheap, so they only came out to about $30, right? Yeah, had a little bit of a discount in there. So I think the retail was like 60, but then the discount brought it down to 30, 33, something like that. Does it say on the side? It does not. But what it does say on the side is a bunch of that typical stuff that you see on mostly every other box. Then you got that going on, and on that side, the top side, you got just the standard stripes. So anyways, these, as you saw in the title and on the side of the box, if you were paying attention, are Adilette Cork slides, right? Somebody asked me the other day in a comment, they said, how do these compare to the Adilette slides? And I'm like, which ones? Because there's like a million of them. If you type in Adilette on Adidas, you're going to get all the results. Like every last thing is going to pop up. So what that person was talking about, I have no idea. And they never responded. So I don't know. Maybe they don't know either. I don't know. It's their question. It's not up to me to figure it out. So anyways, let's go ahead and get these things out of here. Set this other stuff down here. All right, these things are looking quite festive for no real reason. But there we go. There we go. Everything looks to be on the up. That's different. Everything looks to be on the up and up. So I don't know what the colorway of this is, so we're just gonna have to skip over that part. But anyways, it is now review time on this right here, the Adidas Adilette Cork slides. They only have the one colorway, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Overall, when I saw these, you probably noticed that I've bought a handful of slides in the last few months or whatever, because I like slides, especially being at home. It's kind of a thing that I wear. I mean, I'm wearing a pair right now. But anyways, so these, I saw them and they had the cork outsole or whatever. And I thought to myself, well, I like cork. That's kind of a cool thing. That's why I buy those Element 87s to some extent. So let's see what these are all about. So here we are. But let's talk about them first, and then we'll get into what they feel like, because I have no idea. So, starting with the outsole. Right there, you're going to have basically a very weird feeling gum bottom. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, it feels like your standard gum, I guess, but I think it's just because of the look of it. But that extra texture makes it seem a little weird. So I'm going to see in a minute how that feels walking around on it. But then moving up past that, the rest of it on the midsole, if you want to call it that, is pretty much just all cork, all around. So there's not a whole lot to say about that. It's got some nice contours on the inside here where what would be like the insole type area. So for your feet and everything, I'm assuming that these are going to feel pretty comfortable. They look like they've got a nice little area for your arches and stuff. They've got the little toe area indentions down there, the heel area. So we'll see what those are all about once I get these on. And then this piece, the piece that goes over the foot, this is there's not a lot to it. It really is just a basic piece of, I don't know, rubberish feeling material here. Nothing too crazy about that. On the inside, it kind of almost looks like there's a little bit of like a thin nylon over this. Almost like the same feel as like, maybe that was satin, but it almost kind of feels like the Chinese New Year 12s. And that's the first thing that comes to mind because I happened to wear a pair of those earlier today. You know, trying to put some good luck into the world as far as bringing out 12s in hopes that I get a pair of 12s later this week. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, past that, like I said, it's just a very rubbery feel. And then the look of the shoe on the top there, I mean, that's kind of your own opinion on what you think of it. I think it's cool, right? I mean, not like amazing or anything, but I'm cool with it. I'll say that. A little bit of green, kind of like a leafy sort of vibe going on in there with a little bit of red. So, no, we'll see. We'll see how everything works out. Overall, I just was curious about them, and for $30, I figured, you know what? I can spend the money on these. It'll be fine. I've spent more on things that I was less sure about, and then subsequently super disappointed in at times. But hey, another story for another day. Anyways, I think McFly said he might do a video on shoes he regrets. So if you want to hear about regrets, stay tuned to his channel. There will be a link above, not necessarily to that video because it doesn't exist yet, but to a video on his channel, so then you can at least get to him real easy like. Anyways, so now is the part where we go ahead and we do the sizing portion and talk about all that stuff. These are a 9, I'll tell you that right now because they only came in whole sizes. But I'm going to have to take a moment to step away from the camera for a second just so I can put these on and see how they actually feel and all that, because again, it's a new pair of slides to me. So give me a moment to do that. There's going to be a little ad slipped in here because YouTube they're making their own changes, and I'm just going to try to make it so at least when these ads get slipped in here, they're at least at like a decent point. You know what I'm saying? All right. I'll be back in a second. All right, let's do this. So here's the thing about these, right? Right off the top, I will say that the sizing portion is right in line with what I expected. They feel a lot like, as far as width or length or whatever, they feel very much like the Adidas Cloudfoams. So if you happen to have a pair of those, that's kind of give you a good idea of what they feel like as far as how they fit. So again, I bought these in a 9 because they don't do half sizes. Normally my sizing for Adidas would be a 9.5, but I choose to drop down rather than to go up because that is what has worked out for me. If that's what works out for you, fantastic. If that is not what works out for you, that's fantastic too, because I'm still fine, so whatever. But anyways, moving on past that, the feel of these as far as comfort and all that goes. Wearing them, I will say, starting with the bottom, that gum outsole that they have on here, all kinds of traction, right? Like sliding across the floor is not going to happen because these have a lot of grip to them, so that's kind of a plus in my eyes. How you feel about that is how you feel about that. And then moving on past that, the main part of this, right? This cork portion, very stiff, right? It's as you're walking around, it doesn't, again, I'm super used to like the Cloudfoams and the Boost slides, these Alpha Bounces, the 90 slides, Air Max 90 slides. I just have a different expectation. But maybe it just takes a while for these to break in, but right out of the box they are quite stiff, so I will say that. They are very light though, so that's a nice touch, very breathable, so that's what you're going for, I mean, because it's a slide, right? It's super wide open. And then as far as the upper part, like I was saying, the part that goes over your foot, a better comparison would be the Cloudfoams, because the materials feel pretty much the same on the outside and the inside. One of the differences though is that these have a little bit more room in them, so they feel like they go a little higher as far as that part that goes over your foot. So if you just barely had enough room in the Cloudfoams, you're going to be fine with these. Now, I'm not going to say that these are going to be great for like anybody who's a wide-footed variety, because the width seems pretty much on par with those Cloudfoams, almost exactly when I held them up together. But that's just something that you can consider, you know, so if you don't wear socks with yours, that could be somewhat of an issue. I do, so I think I'll be okay, but just want to put that out there because, again, it affects how the shoe feels when you wear it. So what haven't I covered? I feel like I've covered everything, so I guess we're good on that. Now, overall though, as far as my feelings about this, I'm on board with it. I like the look of it and I like the style of it, sure. I'm not quite sure how much I would recommend them just yet because, again, they do feel a little stiff to walk around in. But I'm gonna, you know, do the same thing I do normally, wear these for a while in hopes that they do kind of break in, and then at some point do a little follow-up, because I do need to do one of those eventually. Now that, because I got the Alpha Bounces and I have these, and if I happen to get a third pair of slides, then it'll kind of feel like it's enough to actually like come back to it. So if you have any suggestions for something and it's in stock somewhere for a decent price, please let me know and I'll see what I can do about looking into it. And unless they look terrible, because I don't want to buy anything that looks terrible. Unless it's with your money. If you want to buy them for me, that's totally fine. But anyways, so as far as this review goes, I think we're good here. So we're going to go our separate ways. So from me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I'll be back, I guess, tomorrow because I have a box somewhere. Actually, just a moment ago, I got a package from Finish Line. I had a $20 coupon and they had socks that were $10, so I bought 2 pairs of those. I only had to pay this $7 for shipping, so that's not too bad. But I do have a pair of shoes that should be coming in tomorrow, and another pair of shoes that should be coming in Friday or Thursday. Either way, I'll be back with reviews if you're looking for a review. If you just want to watch like live things, come back on Saturday and we'll have a little tag team turmoil. I use that term even though I'm not using it correctly, because technically that would imply elimination, and this isn't going to be an elimination style tag match. So, you know, semantics. Anyways, later people.